Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 6th edition already of DigiEduHack. My name is Suyin Arts. I'm really delighted to be with you as your moderator for this event. And welcome to all of you here live in Brussels, but also welcome to all the people in the live stream that are following us, I suppose, from all over Europe. And it's good to feel the energy already of people in the room that I think we can say are curious minds gathering. I suppose we have some educators, we have innovators for sure, we have students, and we have change makers. And we all unite around this one question today, and that is, how can we reimagine learning in the age of digital skills? And today we will not only think about the future of education, we will build the future all together. We'll talk about artificial intelligence, coming to immersive classrooms, digital skills, being lifelong learning for all of us. Because what we want to do is we want to create, we want to teach, and we want to learn. We will do that today and think about how we can shape the world of tomorrow. But first, let's watch a little movie with a recap video of this year's different hackathons.
I think my favorite part of the hackathon was the pitching.
We could share different ideas about how to solve this problem.
I personally learned so much, and the participants did too.
And I think it's very clear. Yes, indeed. Applause. And I think you can all feel that it's about much more than only technology. It's really about people, about purpose, and about participation. Let's come back to today. We have foreseen different things for you. You will have to work in the room later on. You'll see that because we will imagine and work together. We have some Mentimeters because I do have some questions for you. And we will also foresee Q&A sessions after each panel. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them at that moment. So I think we will make today a day of discovery, a day of dialogue, and of daring ideas. I count on all of you for that. So welcome once again. And I'd like to give the floor now to Pia Arnkilde Hansen, Director General of DigiEAC, because she has some opening words for us and will give a little recap of the different hackathon days. Please, the floor is yours, and give her a warm welcome.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome indeed, dear friends, Good morning, first of all, and welcome to today's Digital Education Hackathon main stage event also on my part. It's really a pleasure to see you all in Brussels here and, of course, online, those of us who are following us there. Today's event is indeed a chance to bring together our digital education community, policymakers, digital education experts, the ed-tech industry, teachers, and, crucially, young people. Together, we will look back, as we already did now, on everything that we have achieved at this year's hackathon and what's coming up next for our community. This year's event is the 6th edition of the Digital Education Hackathon Hacking Days, from 51 events held in 27 countries last year. This year, you have created solutions at over 70 hackathons in 31 countries. All in all, about 2,500 people all over the world took part this year. Some of you are joining us today from Canada, from Kazakhstan, Mexico, and Peru. And I see many familiar faces also from closer to home. I had the chance to meet some of you at the Digital Education Stakeholder Forum in June. And in the 6th Digital DigiEduHack, I think we call them, right? We have held so far. More than 10,000 people have gotten involved in addressing and finding smart ways to address digital education challenges. Solutions like My Vision, which was an app created by 3 students at the University of Trento, which uses AI to help people applying to university to choose the right course. I look really forward to hearing later how you have taken this idea from this hackathon to reality. Or Signage, designed by Los Resolvers at the Peruvian University of Applied Sciences. Their app teaches sign language to strengthen communication between deaf and hearing communities at school and beyond. Many more solutions were created this year by DigiEdu hackers all over the world. And many of you took the challenge of making AI more accessible to others and harnessing its power for good. Your interest in digital well-being and data-driven education challenges was also very inspiring. This reminded us, all of us, how critical thinking is essential for designing a safe, inclusive digital future. You also focused on bridging education with other important topics, such as sustainability. Some of you designed solutions that use geospatial technology for land recovery. Others, as you will hear soon in one of our testimonials, worked on projects that highlight the need to protect our oceans and seas. And I can't wait, and I'm sure it's also the case for many of you, to discover who this year's finalists and winners will be, but for this, we will have to wait until March. So good luck to everyone who is in the running. Importantly, I also want to thank all the teachers and staff who helped organize this year's hackathons. We couldn't have done without you. We are proud to support you, to offer you and your schools guidance, and to make funding available under Erasmus Plus and other programs to help you in your work. And I encourage you all to explore all these opportunities, because your work is key to sparking young people's interests in digital technology and provide them with the knowledge and skills that they need to pursue their passions. Last but not least, let me welcome again everyone, the policymakers, digital education experts, and EdTech communities once again. Later, you will discuss future trends in digital education and how policymakers and business can bridge the skills gaps Europe is experiencing. 2 weeks ago, our education and business communities met at the European Education and Skills Summit here in Brussels to chart out how we can equip people with the skills they and Europe need to thrive and make Europe more competitive. At the summit, the Commission presented its future actions to tackle the EU skills shortages in fields from clean tech to AI. Actions like the roadmap on digital education and skills, which will tackle underperformance in digital skills. The roadmap will be launched next year as part of the education package we will present under the Union of Skills. Digital skills have been identified as indeed one of the 5 basic skills that we must boost at all levels to invest in people and prepare them for the future. In today's online world, digital skills are indeed essential to perform everyday tasks like buying a train ticket or applying for a job, but we also need to work together to tackle the threats present in our online world, like disinformation and information manipulation. Because it's only with digital skills and literacy that people will be able to take part as active citizens in our democracies and our societies and seize their rights to take part in making decisions. So, dear friends, everyone has a part to play in improving digital education and innovation and in opening it up to all. Today's event offers you the chance to share your ideas on how together we can make sure people have the skills they need to pursue their and indeed Europe's ambitions. So thank you very much for being involved and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to be with us this morning. And I would like to start to know a little bit who is in the room and who is following us online. So we have a first Mentimeter. So I suppose you have the digital skills to know what to do. You just scan the QR code or you go to the website. And the first multiple choice question we have for you is try to put yourself in one of the boxes. What role or sector is fitting yourself the most? We will show all the different answers after the keynote. But first, we will listen to the keynote this morning. I'm checking if everybody is able to give an answer to the poll. I think so. So let me introduce our speaker. Saskia van Uffelen is someone who is really shaping Belgium's digital future. And she's doing so for more than 25 years. At the moment, she is on a mission to help every talent in Belgium to become future-proof. She's the National Coalition Lead Digital Skills at Agoria, and she's herself a true role model. By the way, she's a mother of 5. And next to that, she really has shown many of us how technology and humanity really can go hand in hand. She was named ICT Woman of the Year and very recently appointed Commandeur in the Leopoldsorde by our King of Belgium. Congratulations. She really is someone who is leading by example, and she will not only talk about digital transformation, you will see she's somebody who really lives digital transformation. So please welcome Saskia van Uffelen.
There was a clicker promised. I will take it here. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. And for the ones who are in education, you are not on strike today, so thank you for being here and showing the passion in the subject. Thanks, Yoon, for the introduction. But as I have a very limited time, I will not continue to talk about me, but talking about the subject. How can we rethink education, and do we have to rethink education? So first, in Belgium, but it's a little bit an average of Europe, 44% of the Belgians between 16 and 74 years old do not have the necessarily basic digital skills. So this is not something we can continue to turn around. This is a reality which has a huge impact and what we need to take into consideration today. But it's not only that as a challenge. I mean, most likely not you, but I have to do more with less money. Does that ring a bell? Okay. Now, before you want to get depressed, you can turn around the tablet, then the graph goes up and life looks more beautiful. But it is a reality which we have to take into account also. And then on top of, we have to find a harmony between welfare and well-being, right? Not a balance. For any engineers in the room or online, I don't have anything against engineers, but it's not about 50-50. Sometimes it's 80-20, and then it's 60-40, and it's not one size fits all, so it doesn't make it easier neither. And besides that, then we have to do it in society responsibility, we have to do it in inclusivity responsibility. I mean, you will have to manage education in a digital world these days. It's not that easy. And what is very important, why that sense of urgency is that high, that we have been lucky that we live in a pretty good connected world. I always say, could you imagine that during the COVID period we could not be saying, you are muted? We would really have had a crisis. Now, this is a very vulnerable system, certainly these days. But on the other hand, the fact that everybody and anything is connected, it puts the world upside down. I should normally be in front of a classroom, by the way. My normal job should be educator. But then I started in IT and I stick to it. Yeah, it's that fashion. So something went wrong in my career plan. But what we have these days, before we had a teacher telling and the children were listening. And now the children are speaking up. And I appreciate it. It's not a sign of non-respect for older people. It's just because they are that passionate, and the hackathons have proven it, that youngsters are very passionate to help to solve some purposes. We think we are better minister than the minister themselves. We think we are better policymakers than the policymakers themselves. We think that we are better hospital manager, whatever. So it is the world upside down. And that is something completely new. Because before we could decide what the human society should do, and now we have to be agile, we have to be flexible, we have to adapt to a fast changing world, which in times of politician and geopolitics, etc., is not that easy. So let's see my world in 2040. I, as a citizen, would like to have one invoice a month for my electricity, for my gas, for my utilities, for my healthcare, for my insurances, for the education of my kids, for the water. Dear sectors, dear policymakers, get your act together, because I'm in the driver's seat. And if we do not take that serious now, then don't come and tell me in 2040 Amazon is not a retailer of bananas, that again another big American has taken over Europe. We still have the opportunity to listen to the citizen and act on it in a very efficient way. Will we have remote surgery? Obviously we will have remote surgery. Not because the technology, although 5G helps a little bit with the zero latency, but because we do not have enough specialists. We have people waiting for an MRI scan for 6 months, 9 months. So we cannot pull on the elastic. We have to rethink the business model on how we organize that sector. It is a data sector. You will also have seen it also in the different hackathons. We're all talking about data. Now we are a very sector, siloed Europe, country, industry, education. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the competition is not coming out of your sector. So you will be tackled on your toes and saying, ooh, there is some online education, but it has no master or bachelor stamp on their head. Nope. But it's also a form of education. We will have other people starting to give education which have not necessarily followed the same curriculum as we have had the habit of the past. And then we are saying we need new batches. I mean, I don't think we need new batches. We need to adapt to what are we needing and who can we include. Will a cyber attack happen? Yes, the only question is when. Thank you. So it will happen. It is a reality. It's happening every day. So remember the 44% of the Belgians who do not have the necessarily basic digital skills, that are the ones clicking on the PDFs and giving all information. So it will happen faster than we can imagine. But on the other hand, cyber skills is not about technology only. 75% of the skills we need in the cyber world are human skills. I hate the word soft skills, by the way. There is nothing about soft if we talk about human skills. We need people who can understand where the weakest point is in the chain. We need people who understand the behavior of people. We need people who can analyze where in the process something is going wrong. It has nothing to do with technology. So that's why Women for Cyber female competences can have a big value add in that sector. Now talking about AI, because everybody's talking about AI, I prefer to cut the elephant in pieces. There are 4 aspects of AI. Firstly, it's not a technology. I'm old. Sorry for the youngsters in the room. I come still from a life before Excel. Okay, you can't imagine that. Although on your smartphone, if you want to save a document, it's still a diskette, which you've never known. The sign of a phone is still a phone, which you have never known. So we are pretty good in keeping old stuff alive. Now suddenly AI pops up, it's like Excel pops up. And now everybody is saying it's going to kill every job and it's going to have a huge impact on the employment market. 4 different domains for using AI. The first is the most important on the education level. It's linked with the 44%. That's the shadow AI. That are the users, like my children. If you say you're not allowed to use it, what will they do? They use it. So everybody is using it, but 44% of them don't have a clue what they are doing with their data. So that is the priority in education, and we were discussing before, I'm not agreeing with taking away the smartphones of the education system, by the way. It's just at that moment that we have to learn them what the impact is of doing the behavior they have. So shadow AI is a very important aspect. The second one is IT. And yes, we need people in a big bag, closed, NIS2 compliant, AI Act, very secure, GDPR, whatever you can do. They will use AI because we will give them less budget and they will have to do more. So they will use AI to be more efficient. For example, the role of a programmer will change, which, by the way, in the education system is still learned the old way. So we need AI in IT. But that's not to innovate, that's just to keep the lights on 24/7. If you put innovation at IT, you kill innovation, by the way, for the reasons of security and safety. And then we have AI for the business. Remember the graph? We have to do more with less. The industry is making less margin. The education system is getting in trouble because the financing model is not always the same. So we have to rethink our way of doing business. I need business analysts. I need financial analysts. I need people who know how the education system is organized, which has nothing to do with IT. So they also need to have an AI knowledge on what do I want to do, and what kind of AI agent or AI tool can help me in getting there. And then we have the last category, which is the category near to my heart. That's what I call the rebel. And in a hackathon, we sometimes have very good rebels. Congratulations for that. Don't put them in IT. Give them a sandbox. Let them play with data. They don't have to be NIS2 compliant. They don't respect the AI Act. They are not GDPR compliant. Let's just play them with the data. Let's innovate, let's create. And at a certain moment, business will say, or education sector will say, this is something which I can use. Then you have to industrialize it, and then you will put it in IT. So there is not something as AI education. It is all over the place. But the biggest impact on the employment market is that I'm working for a federation. We have a lot of experts. 80% of their time they were spending in collecting data, and 20% of their time in thinking. Now the world is upside down. They will only need 20% of their time to collect the data, and suddenly we have 80% time to think. Now there are 2 conditions. First, I have to ask the right question to the system. And secondly, I'm wondering what they are going to think about. So yes, all roles will change, and that will have a critical impact on the education system. It's not about a one-lifetime event. It is about what do I have to learn at this moment in time to be relevant in the employment market. And that changes completely the whole way of how education is organized. Like Sion said, we've got 5 children. Normally, I went to school. I came back, I had a diploma. That was the key to the employment market. Then something already went wrong because I didn't go to the education system. And then I would do the whole my career until in Belgium now we're 67 and then we're going to enjoy life. My daughter did some studies. It wasn't clear if she had succeeded because that you can do next year and that you can take with her. Then she said, now I want to enjoy life because I've worked very hard. To start studying something completely different than the first, and to sign up a contract with a company with nothing to do with the study she's done. Now you have to understand that for me as a boomer, it's a little bit wishy-washy. And you can imagine that we could shout continuously in the employment market, we don't have the right profiles. I know, because they are looking to find a profile like we had yesterday, a master of a bachelor with access database or mainframe knowledge, because that's what we learn these days. So yes, we have to rethink the education system, and we have to add to it a non-formal education system. And why? Because the fire is burning these days. We need now people with right competences. I don't need them in 6 to 12 years. We need to act now. And the only way to do that is to complement the regular education system, the formal education system, which what I call, and which we have developed with different DGs already since 2011. We have a fantastic ecosystem. You can learn at your pace, when it wants, to your level. There is enough training available. But it has some impact. First, for the education organizations themselves, they are not being chosen to manage this change. They have a diploma to do in front of a classroom and give indications. And all exceptions are confirming the rule, but in general, as well in the education system, as in the industry, the role of people managing people has completely changed. And most of them are not the right people anymore on the right place, because every job is changing. So we need to redefine also what are the competences of people having to manage people. 2 words which help me on inclusivity, and certainly if you want, it can be on culture, it can be on country, it can be on age, it can be on age, it can be on age. 2 words, appreciative understanding. We are living in a fighting culture. Yes, but I'm right. Black, white, I'm a lover of grey. So appreciative understanding is, I appreciate that you think differently. I'm not necessarily agreeing, but I accept you to do the same thing. And if you can create that with youngsters, then you can really create innovation going forward. Point of attention, because the ones who are doing the hackathon, or have done the hackathon, the ones who are here in the room, you are very passionate about the subject, otherwise you wouldn't spend time on it. So I can only recommend you, for every new idea that you create, can you please also help me to stop something? Because we go from action and action and action and action and KPI and action and change and action, we cannot take anything. And most of the questions when I ask, and why are we doing that way? Then the answer is because we've always done it. So for each new suggestion, can we please make an omnibus, make it simplification, or stop some things which will help the industry. And the last point is for the ones who are participating to the hackathons, please keep up the good job. Because it's only by challenging the existing system in a constructive way, meaning making proposals, that we will be capable of creating an education system for the future where I can be proud on. Thank you, and I wish you all good luck.
Thank you. Thank you, Saskia, for starting with waking us up to the day of today. Let's maybe see the first results of our Mentimeter and see who we have in the stream and in the room. Nice. Not all the same people. So that's interesting. I'm wondering, before we dive into the next panel, what do you think? We do another Mentimeter, so if you can go back to Mentimeter. What do you think is the digital skill that we need the most? I'd like to see after the panel a very nice word cloud, so feel free to share nice words with us. I'll leave you the time to share with us the first ideas that come up, and then we will see your great ideas after the panel. All right. And in that first panel, we want to dive into probably one of the biggest challenges, but also opportunities we have, and that are those digital skills. While we see that technology is really evolving faster and faster, we see also that some people are still struggling with a lot of the basics. And that is very important to make that visible and to find ways to act upon it. So we will hear from experts in our panel on how we can bridge that gap that we have between what we learn and what the world really needs. So let's welcome our 4 panelists for the first panel. Niels Elofsen, he is a junior advisor in social affairs at Business Europe. Dr. Paulina Korznakova, senior researcher and liaison advisor to EEI. Jan de Kramer, policy advisor for the Flemish Ministry of Education and trainer. And Mariana Marcucci, the chair of the board of All Digital. Give them an applause. And instead of giving this extensive presentation of all of you, I thought it's probably better that you share a little something about yourself, your job, but maybe also a little personal detail about why are you here today? Why are you so excited about this topic? Paula, can you start, please? Microphones are on. They will put them on.
Yes, so that was the most dreadful question to me. So I need to confess. Basically, I am my whole life walking through the field of education. First, I studied, then I became a teacher, then I moved toward research in education, first qualitative, then quantitative, large-scale studies. At the national level, Slovakia. Now I'm working at international level for the IEA.
Okay.
And one of our studies happened to be ICILS, which is International Computer and Information Literacy Study. And it had a lot of history because IEA, as all educators, is very much observing what is happening to it, basically, and how we can face and use the technology that is flooding the classrooms and the life of the students.
We'll dive into that study a little bit afterwards. Jan, can I ask you to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, thank you. So I'm Jan de Kramer. I work for the Flemish Ministry of Education. I've been around there for 27 years now, always in digital education. After COVID, we have set up a new unit, a much bigger unit on the digital, and I moved to that unit where I took up the role of stakeholder manager and also responsible for international collaboration. And in that respect, I'm also involved in European SchoolNet. That's an organization that we have set up with several ministries of education. And we do projects like eTwinning or even Code Week, so you might know them from there. On a personal note, I'm a father of three digital natives, but not necessarily with all the digital skills. When it comes to Excel, they really turn to me to solve their problems. So,
Okay,
Thanks.
Mariana?
Thank you, everybody. I think the most important thing about my life is that I'm a road cyclist.
Okay.
So I will talk about road cycling for 2 or 3 hours today. As you know, I'm the chair of All Digital. I started in digital education after a degree in chemistry, so let's say non-formal education. I decided to become an educator after, having abandoned the chemistry area, luckily for everybody, for the world, because I was not very good. And with All Digital, we are working in education also, digital education, digital inclusion, and we are trying to mix the traditional way of educating to the non-formal education part. So we will talk about that, I guess.
Indeed. And last but not least, Niels.
Well, thank you, Student. So, hello everyone, I'm Niels Elofsson. I work for Business Europe, and for those of you who don't know, Business Europe is a large business community gathering more than 20 million European companies, and we can legitimately say then, of course, that we are the voice of European business at the European level. And I think for this particular topic then, education, I think I'm fairly recently gone through the education system, and I think I was there at a weird stage of transitioning into AI. My teachers, my professor didn't know how to really, some were banning it, some were, they didn't know how to actually operate it. So I think having this recent experience made me really see some gaps, and I definitely think together we could discuss some possible solutions to this issue and potential that it has, the digital transition.
Okay, interesting panel indeed. You were already mentioning, Paula, the ECILS. The most recent one was from 2023. We had 34 countries participating in this assessment, and there were 22 EU member states, and there were some results revealing things we did not really expected to see. So could you tell us a little bit more on the figures and the information that this study showed?
Thank you. I prepared a couple of slides, so maybe we can show the numbers. The numbers are important, so you understand where the data are coming from. So the data are coming from 8th grade students, their teachers, and school principals, meaning the population is a bit younger than PISA students. Also is different in the case that we sampled intact classrooms, so the students and the teachers were belonging to one nest. We had approach that secured that we didn't only have those that felt good about technology and felt it is important to them, like we are here united in that aspect. The students were real sample of people that are happening to be in 8th grade. Next slide is important because it is also, I think you need to click more. But even if it would be only these titles, the ICIL's name is containing computer and information literacy, which is a concept that was established in the first study in 2013. So we see our students as information consumers, and we are having framework for what does it mean, what this means, then they are also producing information and they are living in the world shaped by the technology and this information. So they are digital citizens. So our tasks in the study were related to this concept. This is important to remember because the study was not only about questionnaires responding our own beliefs, how well we are doing, but there was also a test on the basis of what we could link to the framework and conclude where we are. And then the last slide is the result, because again we need click, so everyone can see what he's interested in. So because of the test, we were able to divide the spectrum and illustrate what we have in 8th grade classrooms. And we got students below level 1, that is for us basic functioning. Click and sweep, yeah, basic functioning. Then we have this level 1, we have a level 2 with support. These learners can cope. And then we have the 2 levels that we would love to see. And that's independent user, and then it's critical user that is capable of doing what he or she wants with precision. So now we have fantastic data that can describe our 8th graders. We have actually plan how the development looks like and what we learned. So first, not too bad. We found that because of perhaps the information part, girls tend to do better than boys. So girls in this study achieved better than boys. Computational thinking is another story, a bit reverse. Then we saw that even when we think about pandemic, right? Pandemic, people were mostly on computers. In 2018, we had better results than in 2023. So we had decline in computer and information literacy. That was not expected. What is also not good is that our students, basically, they think they are fine. 80% of them think they can evaluate information and say whether this is relevant, safe, good information. According to the results, it's about 20% that they can prove what they are saying. And you can imagine that it may be very difficult to educate people who don't think they need to be educated. Also, we have a bit of problem of where students are learning. And this particular skill, they tend to learn more outside the school than inside the school. So then, again, it's something good that school could do. I will.
Okay. Yeah, we'll switch the micro. I think your microphone is making a lot of noise. We'll share some microphones. So, Jan, in a way, what we see is a real paradox. You mentioned it yourself. We have our youngsters that we think are very good with digital, but they still struggle with certain competencies. What do you think are the primary factors that contribute to this?
Yeah, well, first of all, exposure to technology does not lead to skills. That's pretty obvious. It's not because you consume a lot of technology that immediately or automatically you acquire the skills necessary to use those technologies appropriate. Secondly, I think there is still a very persistent digital divide. Where we see, at least during the COVID pandemic, we saw that A lot of parents and pupils didn't have the right skills, didn't have the proper access to technology, but also the skills to help their kids with the online digital education that we had at the time. So this is also one of the reasons. And I think a third reason is the complexity of digital competence. It's not only about skill, it's also about attitude, it's also about knowledge. There are a lot of domains. It's about information processing, media literacy, computational thinking, AI literacy that's coming around as well. So there's a lot of elements there as well. To my opinion, an important element to overcome this, at least in education, is to integrate that properly in the curriculum. Digital skills, digital competences needs to be taught, and that's what we try to do in education. We've done a major curriculum reform now in Flanders. It took us quite some time to do, but we have 3 core components there: computational thinking, media literacy, and ICT. So I think we're up to date with that, but just to give you one critical remark on that, the former curriculum reform that we had on digital dates from 2007. So one of our big challenges is, as ministries, is to keep pace with the societal and technological evolution for that.
Which goes faster and faster.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
One change is happening, and the next is already around the corner for sure. Niels, if you look to the labor market, what do you think are the gaps between labor market and students that are coming out of their education and starting on the work floor?
Definitely. I think it's already been mentioned today, but what a lot of our members and companies report is they see that when they will hire recently graduated people that will hopefully, of course, enter into the company immediately and be an efficient worker, they see that they have a lack of these basic digital skills. And I think I'm not the last one to mention it today. But this is, of course, tied into this entire, we've seen in the Union of Skills that there's reporting of a huge basic skills need and that Europe is lagging behind. I think the Commission even calls it a ticking bomb to our education system and to Europe's competitiveness. This is, of course, basic skills, but of course, basic digital skills that we see around 90% of our jobs require basic digital skills. And when companies have to teach their recently hired people the skills that they should have actually received in the compulsory educational system, it causes an issue. It's gonna take more time for companies to onboard this person. It will take more funding to actually get this person up to speed. And we see that some of our members report that indeed they have a stable foundation in their education, but they have been trained on old infrastructure. And I think I could also relate to this, because I mentioned I was studying in a weird transition phase, and I remember we had this statistics class, which was first of all difficult for my social science brain to even have statistics, but we were trained on a software where we were learned that this software is not actually in use anymore. There's another software that's going to be in use, but my professor, old-fashioned one, you really like him, but he was a bit old-fashioned. So we were trained on this old software, which I don't really have an use for this today. So I think there's also a case to be made to update, of course, the digital infrastructure in school, so graduates will actually have the right digital skills also, not only to have them, but have the correct ones.
Marianne, are we then focusing too much on certain skills and not enough on other skills? Like we want everybody to be top coders, but maybe we need to teach them more about ethics and other skills you definitely need on the work floor?
Yeah, connecting to what Ian was saying, businesses are often afraid of spending on people and not investing on people, because why am I, why I have to do it and not the education system. So yeah, I agree. And that's why I think that probably, yeah, I wouldn't say we focus too much on coding. Coding is really valuable. Obviously, digital skill, we are called all digital. I think it's an important brick in the digital house. But sometimes, and not to say often, we consider that brick the whole building. So what I think it's needed is a broader view, especially for young people. So creativity, curiosity, adaptability to technology. So what I would say, it's called digital agency. So the ability to adapt, to understand technology, not just as a tool, but something that just shape, the way we think, the way we act, the way we educate also people. So coding is really valuable to obtain that, especially when it's taught in a way that, let's say, sparks imagination and not fear. So I think that agency could be summarized in, I don't know it yet, but I can figure it out, something like that. So I think that in this way, technology stops to be like a siloed tool, as Saskia also said about silos, and it's a way of like it allows us to cultivate explorers and not just people who are, teaching or learning something.
So really teaching people to be and to stay curious in a way?
Exactly. The World Economic Forum in its recent report listed some of the skills needed for the future. And curiosity is I don't remember, the third or fourth in importance. Yes. And I'm really happy about that, because in 2015, I gave a TEDx about curiosity as an attitude. So I'm really aligned with that.
Okay. Paula, can I ask you, maybe somebody can share the microphone with Paula. If you look to the results and you would connect where on an international scale we should be and what the EU targets are. Did the study also show something on that?
Yes, and there is a slide for colleagues in the room and outside to see it. Yes, so basically, because we have such a nice description of the possible progress and the target where we would like to see our students, we can also pick a proper level. So the level 2 was said that this is the basic, and by the way, there is nothing basic about basic. It's a foundation. It's very important. It's not elementary. Mm-hmm. It's somehow advanced already, and it offers the room of improvement. And we can see that we are very much behind the target. On the other hand, we have these higher up levels that are like 1%, the top, very, very low. It's the picture would be different in different countries within European Union. Mm-hmm. But what we need to understand is that we are people, and curiosity cannot be taught. It can be only nourished, inspired, and we are different. And it's fine that we are different, because then we can cover a much larger field. The point is that we need to find out during the education, and those who are interested need to go up until the highest levels.
Mm-hmm. So, Jan, if we look to the targets which are put, and if we see where we are, for you, do you then have the feeling that we are doing enough? Should we do more? One of the examples is we want a lot of women in STEM, for example. Is that something that really works if we see where we get, or should we?
Yeah, well, maybe first on the targets, I think I don't think that we will reach the current European targets, especially not some of the digital decade targets. One of them is that we should have like 80% of citizens that have basic digital skills by 2030. Saskia gave the figure for Belgium. It's around 60% or even below. I think currently there's only 2 countries that already meet the targets, and actually it's also stagnating, I think, so it doesn't move pretty much. So no, I don't think that we will reach the targets, and yes, I think that we will have to do a lot more. You mentioned the gender gap, which is also quite persistent, also stagnating. I think the past years a lot has been done to attract more girls and women into STEM policies and STEM careers. There are more role models. STEM is integrated much earlier in the education systems. So there has been all those STEM action plans, but yet we see that moving forward with the figures, it doesn't work. So in education alone will not solve this problem. I think we also have to look at beyond education. Flanders took part in a project with European Schoolnet, which was called Empower Ed, and this was about the edtech sector. And I learned some really shocking things there. For instance, that there are very few female leaders in startups to start with, and they seem to have like less action, less possibilities to attract venture capital. Indeed. They make fewer deals, and within those deals they make fewer money as well. So those are really barriers that I didn't know of, and they are also outside the education system. They are in the more entrepreneurial system. Now I think that we didn't do always the right thing. We tried to change the girls and to persuade women and girls to enter in those studies. But actually, we should have changed the system more, I think, and with that kind of barriers in the entrepreneurial sector as well. So. First of all, I think we need to remove that kind of barriers, and secondly, it will need to be a collaborative approach, not only within education, but also beyond the education system, yes.
Also working together with the labor market.
For sure.
Niels, do you then see opportunities there? How can we work together, education with labor market, and how can we then make sure that once people come into the labor market, they have the skills they need, and if they don't have them, what can we do?
Definitely. I think there's a point to be made to involve the social partners more into education, and with social partners I'm talking about, of course, us, the employees organization, but also the trade unions. That's not in the room today, I think. But if we would involve the social partners more into the education system to be able to co-create the curricula, I'm not saying that companies should go in and demand everything, but of course having this collaborative spirit and allowing companies to be helping the education system, because they have their ear to the ground. They know what's needed on the labor market. So if we would consult employers at a higher frequency, I think this could be a very good step towards actually adapting education to the labor market needs. And I think something else, we haven't been talking about teachers so much today, but I think introducing more of a industry exposure for also teachers, and including this in their continuously professional development, that they are exposed to industry, that they take part in a couple of weeks or something in companies to actually see what's needed on the labor market, so they can take back this the lessons they've learned from the labor market to bring it back into their education. Then there's also a thing to be made for allowing more work-based learning, to introduce more apprenticeships into the educational system, allowing students to be placed at a company or what have you, and learn at the job. Because I think this will have a dual effect with they will learn the more practical skills that they are needed on the labor market, and then they can also bring these back to their classrooms where they can combine their more academic skills to these actually practical skills that they've learned. And I think this in total will create more ready-baked students for the labor market.
Mm-hmm. And should we also break the silos in between companies? You have companies doing a lot, other companies doing barely nothing. Should we share more over the different companies? Marianne, should we also eventually look beyond labor markets and see what is happening in NGOs, for example, or in more cultural environments?
Yes, absolutely. I think that what we see across the whole digital network is that when collaboration happens, digital innovation gains, let's say, a real meaning. Because when students work on projects that have a real impact, and that happens when collaborations happens, they gain meaning. They gain, the wishfulness to continue work on those projects, and that I've seen a lot with a project I'm the co-founder of. It's called Digital Invasions. It's a co-creative project where young people learn digital storytelling and digital innovation through invading cultural places, and learn how to give their personal experience on those places. So not just digital storytelling, but let's say human storytelling with a personal approach. And I think that if we bring this co-creative approach to education, we can innovate really in the innovation. And that could happen if we collaborate, because it's beautiful today. We are agreeing on everybody else's opinions, but that's something that not often happens outside of this room. So I think that it's very important. And obviously, businesses can give us more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. And indeed, I think something very important that you mentioned, if you see what you're learning and you see it in action, it gives you the power to continue. That is very important, not just staying and doing something where you never will see the result of. I think you were also mentioning, I think that's also important.
If I may, just 1 second, just to connect with what I was saying. Women are working for free starting from October to December, not speaking about gap in the...
Yes. Jan, do you have some ideas of ways and approaches that have been tested and that really work well? Certain things that maybe consistently surprise certain people, like, oh yeah, if we do it this way.
In terms of methods, not so much. I'm not a teacher, so I couldn't say. But there are nice examples for instance, on the collaboration topic, when what I discussed before, the Empower Ed project was really meant to bring together governments, to bring together companies, to bring also the research. And one of the elements there was to actually create better technology for schools. And that can, for instance, be done through test bedding. And test bedding is nothing more than very early testing of technology with schools, supported by research. And if you bring those three types of stakeholders together, you get a kind of powerful ecosystem to develop better technology for schools, for instance. So we're now, as the project is now ending, we are now setting up those test beds in different countries and see what's coming out of it. But it's also a way of collaboration across sectors.
Paula,
I don't know if this answers your question.
Yes, I do think so. It's a question of indeed breaking silos, but even outside, not only silos in education, not only silos in, but really not only agreeing on stage, but then when you go out of this door, really work together. Paula, do you have the feeling that the metrics we are measuring are still measuring what we should measure, or should we also think of assessing other things?
Yeah, well, there is old saying that if you would like to measure trend, you should not change the measure. But we are all evolving, so basically we need to adjust measures. I would like to connect to the keynote, because I really think there is something in when we are taking new tasks, we need to have ability to drop
others,
because this is about focus. But what is also important for education is this notion of continuity. So, for example, when we are updating framework, we are watching out what is happening in the field around artificial intelligence. But we are not going to drop the framework. We are integrating the new development in the field of technology into the framework. So at the end, we will learn new things while still being able to tell how much better or worse are our students doing in finding informations, creating new information, adapting it for new audiences, communicating what is important, filtering out what is noise or not true. So all this, I trust, skills that are needed.
Maybe also to link back to the keynote and what Saskia was saying. She said she had one of the daughters studying something, seeing the world, coming back, studying something else, and then going to a job which has nothing to do with everything she has learned. I think this is going to be reality for us, maybe, but also and definitely for our children. Yes, Paula?
But from the research, actually, this is how to say, growing ground for creativity.
Indeed. And that's why I wanted to ask you, Niels, and you mentioned it already. You do your education, 12 to 16 years, then you go to the work, and you will stay there 45 years at least. Should we rethink in the 45 years of education or work that we will have, we will see not only the technical revolution now, AI, we will have much more coming. Should we change the educational system then also keeping that in mind?
Definitely. I think what you said is how it is today, we're learning everything that's important to learn before the age of 25. Basically, we go to school, and a lot of people finish their universities before the age of 25, and then we've learned everything we need to know. And I don't think this is the case, and it's especially now when we're seeing these the digital transition, the green transition. I think cycles nowadays they move way faster than they've ever done, and I think changing this way, of course, we need to learn a lot before 25, but I think including a more of a lifelong learning perspective, changing careers, or even getting different kinds of short courses or micro-credential, what have you. There's a lot of words to describe these, but to have this continuous learning, I think, is will something that be very important. I think that our companies are seeing this. They are also, of course, training their employees, because they don't have the time to wait for the education system to adapt. So they're doing it themselves right now. But what I think is very important as a foundation, and I think Mariana, you mentioned it, this notion of a digital agency of adaptability. If you posit a strong foundational skills, basic digital skills foundation that will allow you to be adaptable, flexible, because inevitably, whatever you do, you will have to adapt in whatever field you are. And having these foundational skills will allow you to easier transition into these different kind of positions or even switch career paths.
Get the basics right and be ready to evolve afterwards. Mariana, do you also see other mechanisms that we could use to align the educational system to what employers really need?
Yeah, thank you, because I'm an example of what you do. What I do now is what I've learned way after 25. So yeah, I'm close to 50 now, and I'm still learning. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think that connecting let's say the discussion to the collaboration we talked before, we don't need more frameworks, or maybe we need to lose something. But what we need, I think, is translations, because sometimes businesses speaks in productivity, education speaks in competences, policymakers speaks in benchmarks. So I think that we have to translate all those languages for the people who are willing to adapt themselves to the new labor market. Because if we teach the young people now what the businesses, what the market needs today, we risk that they won't be ready for the businesses of tomorrow. That it's they won't be prepared. So I think that we have to design more long-term skills. Let's call them skills. It's a wider term, rather than short. We need that today. You have to learn it, because as soon as you have learned it, it's just useless.
Yes.
It's become useless very, very easy. So
translators, I think.
Translators. We need
something
translators.
very valuable. We have to also, if we want to break the silos, have people that are able to translate what silo one is doing and what the other silo is doing as well. And maybe you're speaking the same language, but you don't even know that you're after the same thing. We are running a little bit over time, but I want to give the opportunity to maybe our people in the room for one, max 2 questions with a short answer. Does anybody have a question? If not, we will have a break afterwards. I see one question in the back. We just take a microphone here, just hand over a microphone for the question, and then we...
Almost about cycling, yes. Thank you for the wonderful discussion. And as accidentally, we are going to host an academia IT industry roundtable on the same topic on Friday in Estonia. So please free advice always welcome, yes. So what would be the most critical soft skill, so hard soft skill, we should implement immediately in higher education so the labor market would be more happy? Thanks.
So we heard no soft skills, because soft skills are not that useful. But what skill? Maybe one word, because we asked everybody also the skills. So maybe one word, and then we will see what came out of the Paula. Go ahead. You have what skill? Not soft, but
Communication.
Communication. All right. Mariana?
For adaptability. That's a ball.
Adaptability. Jan?
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Great.
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking.
With a dash, so it's one word.
Indeed, it's one word, of course. Hashtag critical thinking. Let's maybe see what you have answered in the poll. Can we have the word cloud, please, before we close? Critical thinking. Look at this: literacy, adaptability, analyzes, safety. Many nice words. Respect also, I see. A bit of programming, understanding. Sorry?
Digital citizenship.
In the digital citizenship, indeed, also very important. So thank you all for playing the game and sharing that with us. Very valuable. Can you please give the panel a warm applause? Thank you so much. Thank you. We have been talking about the future, the possible future, but we have a nice video, a testimonial video, of some people that have witnessed it today. So I would say, let's launch the video. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Olga, and I am one of the 3 people who make up the Jellyfish Pro team. We are 3 young scientists from Gdynia in Poland who specialize in marine sciences. Our team, Jellyfish Pro, has created the Purpose project. The aim of our project is to convey specialist knowledge about the Baltic Sea in an accessible and understandable way to ordinary people throughout social media.
Hello, my name is Ada. The reason why our team has decided to join the DigiEduHack was definitely the topic of the DigiBlue hackathon, because the seas and the oceans and all of their issues are very close to our hearts. We worked on a challenge regarding bringing the stories of the seas and the oceans to the general public and making them more visible, more accessible, and interesting to help create maybe a society that would be more conscious of the oceans and how important they are to our everyday lives. And it was very, very fun, and I'm very glad we were able to participate. Thank you.
Definitely the presentation of the 8 squares by us and other teams, it allowed me to see the diverse approaches to the topic and the various solutions that the participants came up with, and it was a very interesting experience.
Hello, my name is Julia and I am a proud member of Jellyfish Pro. And I think the biggest achievement of our team was winning, because it was a turning point for us. It gave us both support and opportunity to continue developing our project, and the success also helped us personally, because it strengthens our belief in ourselves and gave us more confidence. Thanks to this experience, we now feel more motivated and prepared to take our new challenges. So, thank you.
A beautiful testimonial. We saw happy faces, feeling confident, and of course happy to win. Of course, always nice. The next interactive session is not about winning. It's just to create the future together. The people following us on the stream, you will now go with Ariadne. She will tell you what is happening for the people online, and I will brief all of you here with us today. So we're going to make smaller groups. We have different walls that we will put in the room, so you can gather around that wall. And you will see on the wall we have 8 emerging trends, actually. Possible things that will reshape digital education. You will discuss within the group and try to rank those possible scenarios. We also have one blank page. So in case you think, well, I'm missing
Hi everyone, I'm just checking that you can hear me. I'm checking with my AV team to confirm that I can be heard. Give me 1 second to be okay. So hi everyone joining us online. Thank you so much for being here in our own virtual space for this interactive activity. The idea is to look ahead, look at the future of digital education, and I will now share my screen for the QR code that I will ask you to join. Let me make sure that I'm using this correctly. So if you're not already on the Mentimeter, I'm just gonna go back to the QR code, which is this one. So I will give you a couple of minutes. Please go ahead and scan that or join through menti.com using the code that you see on the screen. So then we can go ahead and vote on, go ahead on our interactive activity. Once you're in, you should be able to see the 8 emerging trends we're working with today. I will change my slide now and go here. So you should be able to see the 8 emerging trends. As you see, you will have to order the scenarios you believe will have the greatest impact on education. The idea is if you, while you're reflecting, you can consider the following guiding questions. You can think, can this trend point to a major turning point? Or how can this trend change how we think and act in education? What tension does this trend suggest? Maybe it can also be, could this trend represent a turning point for how we learn? How might it change everyday teaching and educational practices for teachers? What tensions might it create as it becomes mainstream? So those are things you can consider as you vote. And I will give you a couple minutes to reflect. As you see, the 8 scenarios that we have on our screen are uncovering edtech's environmental footprint, education design for every mind, phobo fear of becoming obsolete, integrational learning, slow learning, story living, teacher digital twins, and game on democracy. All right, we see integrational learning kind of being on the top. Educational design for every mind. As we progress, we also make sure to be more inclusive in the way we teach. Teacher digital twins, then story living, game on for democracy, uncovering edtech's environmental footprint, slow learning, and fear of becoming obsolete as 8th. I'm just gonna be also mindful of the time to make sure that we are able to get back at the room whenever our on-site participants are also done. But we should still be all right. Of course, there's no right or wrong answer here. We're simply exploring possibilities and collecting your instinctive reaction for the future of education, or what these potential scenarios signal for the future. Some seem to be changing a little bit. The order seems to be changing still. Intergenerational learning seems to be number 1. I'll give you a couple more minutes to reflect and to not take your mind off of the exercise, as these are all scenarios that are key to education and its future. For those maybe who are only now joining us, I will just go back to the QR codes in case you didn't have the time to join us. All right, and I'll go back now to your selections here. And showing again the rankings. Education design for every mind comes in second. Inclusivity matters more and more. So that also makes sense. And as I'm not sure if you're able to see the explanation of those things, I'm just gonna go ahead and read what the first two are about. I'm sure you already have an understanding, but just to give you a little bit more insight. So when it comes to intergenerational learning, younger people are becoming educators of older generations in digital competency, whilst learning wisdom traditions in return. So younger people learning from older people and older people from younger people, of course. Rather than top-down instruction, intergenerational learning networks, intergenerational learning networks have teenagers teaching parents, grandparents teaching digital natives, and cross-age groups co-learning emerging technologies. Educational institutions are recognizing this as a legitimate pedagogy, creating structured reverse mentorship programs and intergenerational cohorts that strengthen communities and address skill gaps across age groups. So that is the one that is also seems to be the most successful in our group here. I will just go ahead and read for you the second one, that for us it is education design for every mind. Rather than adapting disabled or neurodivergent learners to standardized systems, curricula is designed around neurodiversity as foundational pedagogy. Institutions are building educational experiences that simultaneously serve autistic, ADHD, dyslexic, and neurotypical learners. This approach respects sensory differences, nonlinear thinking patterns, and alternative communication modes as educational assets rather than deficits. While this universal design approach often results in richer learning environments for everyone, it requires significant pedagogical reimagining and challenges institutional assumptions about the normal, quote unquote, normal learning, what normal learning looks like. That is the one that has been voted second here. And I will also read for you the teacher digital twins. Educators are creating their virtual avatars to extend their reach and adapt content delivery. Avatars can mimic real people using text, voice, video, and imagery. After filming short sessions, teachers can generate videos from text and deliver lectures, provide feedback, or explain concepts through consistent avatars with matching voice. These enable personalized multilingual content, flexible pacing, and video-based content accommodating different learning styles. Teachers control content and their avatars and it's more of an extent of the teacher itself rather than, of course, replacing the teacher. So this also comes into the concept of inclusion and diversity. So these are the ones that are the three top for us. If we still have more time, I can go ahead and read the rest. So I will check with the team if we're supposed to go back yet. I think we're okay with time. We have a few more people joining as well as I see, so that is great. Maybe I can go back to the QR code for the ones that were just joining us. Can give you a bit more time to scan the QR code and answer. We'll choose the cards that you rank the cards that we have of the scenarios. And in the meantime, I will read you the fourth one that we have on as ranking fourth, which is story living. Storytelling and narratives are essential communication tools. I guess my AV team is taking me back. So I can just go ahead and hear. So I'm reading you the fourth, what ranked for us fourth, which is story living. Again, storytelling and narratives are essential communication tools. Story living adds an experiential element, allowing participants to live through stories via interactive, embodied, and immersive experiences. Virtual reality lived stories can enhance learning, teaching empathy, and healthcare. It is a valuable tool in journalism and corporate and political communications. In these stories, there is no teller. The audience has some agency, but not full control, and can access multiple perspectives. So this is the one that ranked fourth for us. I am always mindful of our time to make sure we join our co-participants in the main room. Since we're okay. So I can go ahead and read you the fifth one, slow learning. All right. So educators are pioneering slow learning approaches, emphasizing depth and genuine understanding over speed and productivity metrics. These pedagogies create protected time for deep thinking. Students engage in extended projects, developing sustained attention. Digital tools support asynchronous collaboration, allowing thoughtful participation across time zones. Assessment values demonstrable understanding rather than gamification metrics. Teachers develop contemplative facilitation skills. In an era, of course, where social media is so integrated to daily life and affects maybe especially the younger generation's, attention span, it's so important to have a trend that takes us to a more focused and more intentional learning. So this is our fifth scenario. For what we see, our group considers the education design for every mind now, has gone first, as the one to have the greatest impact on education. Designing for inclusivity and diversity, a reflection of what our world really looks like, seems for our group to be the one that is the most important and impactful one. Our intergenerational learning card has now gone second, and then we have teacher digital twins third, and story living fourth, as we had in the beginning as well. And it seems that the rest for us go lower in our list. We still have a few more minutes, so I will let you, I believe you can see You can see the ranking, but I hope you can also see the QR code. I can now see that you see it in the bottom, so you see it right here. So that's great. If you still want to vote, I can see that the participants are on site are wrapping up. So our AV team will soon take us back to the main room. But stay tuned because we have a second part of this activity where we're going to dive deeper into the selected parts. So I'll give you a few more minutes if you want to scan the QR code, and I will let my AV team take us back whenever it's time. Thank you to our online participants. Any type of participation in our new hybrid world is important, and especially today when we're talking about education. For our online participants, you still have a bit more time to select what you consider as the card or the future scenario that has the greatest impact on education. So please feel free to either still scan the QR code or if you're in, vote or rank the scenarios. I think it's really also interesting to see how important education design for every mind is for our group. And I'm really curious to see what the selection of the on-site participants will be. They will be showing us the results as we get back, I believe. That will be really interesting. Please know that the online participation is also super important. Don't feel it's a one-way communication here. Unfortunately, we cannot really collaborate and discuss really get into these scenarios as a group, but your individual participation also matters. And maybe you can take these cards to your friends or your colleagues and debate them, discuss them, see what they think that each of these cards will lead to, what other future scenarios unravel within those future scenarios, 8 future scenarios that we have here. I do think that education is also such an untapped environment in terms of innovation. There's a lot of ideas, and of course, this is what DigiEduHack is all about, no? Hacking education and rethinking it, seeing it from different perspectives, from the learner, from the teacher, from technology itself, and reimagining how we could teach and learn, which is it's also quite defining of who our society becomes in the future. It all starts in education, right? So it is such a fundamental thing to consider. As my on-site team is leading the final group to its selection. That's great. So we have a few more seconds here. Please feel also free to share the live stream with friends and family. For those you think that they would benefit from our next upcoming speakers and panel. We also have a testimonial coming up next. We are wrapping up.
right. Welcome back in the room and also welcome back at home. Be careful, you are walking in front of our cameras. No worries. Take your seats back. I hope, and I could already see it, you were networking quite a bit during the break. That's where breaks are for, of course. I'm very happy and also very curious to hear our next testimonial. We have students live in Brussels, coming from Bruges, and I can call them the Escape Hacker team. And they will share with us what it meant for them to be part of DigiEduHack. I don't know exactly when, but I'm sure they will tell us. But first of all, we have their teacher with us. Lisbeth, can I ask you to come in front, because you will tell us a little bit more. Give her a warm welcome applause.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. We are very honored to be here. And I'm so glad also that I could bring my students. And they made a presentation. They made it all by themselves. They made also the video game. Yeah, we made a video game because we have a subject in KTA Brugge, KTA Bruges, and it's a subject esports, and we have 4 main focus points: the business around gaming and esports, so it's economics, it's law that we are bringing in, also event management. We are organizing events for all of our students and students outside of our school. Then also the mental health, what is digital dependence on screen, what is the balance we can make, and also the last one is a training in soft skills. And this DigiEduHack was a perfect exercise for training soft skills because they are very talented, and with DigiEduHack they have now a lot of vision about their own talents. Come in front and give them a warm applause. So media literacy awareness, play the game in Roblox. If you have children at home, you can search, and the title is on the screen, Escape Hacker KTA Brugge, and then you will find the game they made. When we go to the following slide, you see the team. Yeah. Working with students is always great. It is Louis, Larissa, Rowan, Jonas, and Ilias, and I give them the floor.
We have to wait for the next slide. Oh yeah, I'll just start. Oh yeah, thank you. All right. So we have a real-world problem. Children often lack media literacy skills, but they still play a lot of games. Most children are unaware of their choices, decisions, and consequences that they can make on online platforms. So we decided to do something with that. We decided to build a game to help them develop more media literacy skills. Ilias here will tell you more about that game.
Thank you, Jonas. So we wanted to educate the youth on media literacy. So in layman's terms, this pretty much means things like clicking on safe links or safe passwords, or knowing what the difference between real news and fake news. And instead of doing this the boring way, like most people do it, by just teaching them inside of a classroom where nobody's paying attention, we decided to do this in a fun and interactive way via a Roblox game. Since a lot of our youth play Roblox, we decided that it would be fun to make them play a game to learn instead of being inside of a classroom. So yeah, and I will now give the mic to Louis.
Hello. We learn a lot of things, like with a lot of teamwork you can strengthen all your skills, and everybody has their own unique skill set that brought to the table, and it was very useful that if we work together we can solve like anything.
DigiHack inspired us to be more aware of our own talents, but also weaknesses, to work better together. And to manage to reach all of our goals that we have.
If we work together, we can solve a lot more problems and reach a lot of people from different age groups who often lack the digital skill sets needed to navigate online platforms in this current digital day and age. And we can also easily reach a lot of groups who are often overlooked or hard to reach by policymakers like you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And what an impressive English. Very good. Amazing. I have another Mentimeter for you all, because we're very curious to know who did already participated in a hackathon. And you've got 3 options. The first one is yes, of course. The second one is no, but the third one, more interesting, is no, but I would love to. So let me know. All right, it's not a very difficult question, so I suppose you all answered that. We will give you the info on the percentages after the panel. So in our next panel, we're going to talk about hackathons, obviously. They go far beyond competition. We heard winning is nice, but it is also a very powerful tool for learning, for creativity, and for collaboration. So the panel we will have with us will dive into their experience, but also think further, what can we do with hackathons in the future? So I'm going to ask you all to welcome them. Let me tell you who they are. Davide Capoloni, Senior Operations and IT Manager at GA Europe. Johanni Koivovita, co-founder and CEO of EduCrafter. Gabriele Tealdo, the global winner of the last year's DigiEduHack and the co-founder of Unimate. And last but not least, Victoria Bellows, join us on stage. National Ambassador as well of DigiEduHack. Please take your seats, and we're going to do it the same way as we did it just before. And instead of me telling a lot about you, although I've of course checked who all of you are, I think it's much more interesting if you present yourselves first. Shall we do ladies first? Let's do ladies first.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation and for seeing all good people in here. I'm a managing director at the National Center for Digital Innovations in Education, also known as Future Classroom Lab in Moldova, which is a department under the Pedagogical University. We are a team of 20 plus young and motivated people to change, but mostly to get into the transformation and to attract more teachers and students into the process of innovation, transformation, and digital learning by developing skills in both of them, teachers and students. We have a lot of projects with international partners such as UNICEF, UNDP, previous USAID, and now we're very close working with the local Ministry of Education and Research. I'm also a mother of 2 daughters, 16 and 7. They both play this Roblox at home and transforming our evening sessions in game-based learning, if you wish. And, well, very happy to be here and to interact with all of these nice and very active people. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Yeah, Gabriele, can you introduce yourself briefly?
Buongiorno. My name is Gabriele. I am from Italy, and I am a master's degree student at University of Trento. I'm studying human-computer interaction, but I'm also co-founder of Unimate. That's why I'm here, actually. After working 3 years for Apple in Barcelona in their artificial intelligence department, I really felt this strong personal drive to merge my background in psychology with technology and artificial intelligence. And that's why I wanted to take a little step back to university, but because I wanted to move forward somehow. And that's how the Unimate journey started. But I don't want to give you any spoilers because we'll have time to talk about it later.
Thank you. Annie.
Very nice. Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be here. I'm actually living a dream. When we started with educational hackathons back in the days, I then already envisioned what if we could have hackathons happening in education across the globe, and there would be headquarters units supporting all of this happening. Well, look at us now. Here we are. So this has become reality, and it's great. I'm a co-founder and CEO at EduCrafter. We are education innovation agency from Finland, working to innovate education since 2017, supporting transformation with education systems. What brings me here is that, yes, our company is supporting DigiEduHack, but also the Digital Education Hub, which is another initiative by the European Commission, and our role is to foster the synergies between these two. So happy to talk more today. And I would characterize myself being a very positive-minded entrepreneur from Finland.
Okay, thank you. Happy to have you here. Davide.
Hi everyone, my name is Davide, I'm also Italian. I work for an organization called JA Europe, which is European Leader in Entrepreneurship, Education and Skills for Employment Programs. I've been, let's say, a veteran of hackathons in a way, because our organization has organized several within DigiEduHack and outside the context of DigiEduHack. And I'm sitting in the steering committee of DigiEduHack since 3 years now. So thank you for having me.
Great. Well, I'm going to ask the AV team to start the timer because I'm going to challenge you, Gabriele. I'm going to challenge you in the real hackathon spirit. So you have been with your team the winners, the global winners of the last edition. So yeah, 2 minutes to pitch.
All right, let's take on the challenge then.
Do we want to hear it?
Yes.
Should we give it an applause? So I'll try to be really concise and start with a question, which is, did you know that 8 students out of 10 nowadays are not happy with the current digital tools that you use for academic guidance? Personally, we found that out through a survey that we distributed at University of Trento, where we found out that students go online, search for university, look some data, then embrace the journey, but then reality won't ever meet expectations. And that's the problem, you know, that sparked it all. That's what motivated us to embrace the DigiEduHack Challenge. So what is Unimate in a nutshell? Unimate, first of all, has one goal, which is not promoting AI, but it's promoting human beings. How do we do this? If you hop on Unimate, you can do it because it exists. It's a real platform. You can leave a review on your personal university experience, like you would do on TripAdvisor. Of course, we promote constructive feedback. And that's really good because we're gathering students' perspective, beliefs, personal point of views on any kind of topics, not just institutional data, but also how is life in the city of Trento, in Milan? What are tips and tricks, you know, for living there as a student, okay? But it doesn't end there because we're gathering this big community of qualitative data and we're training our own AI chatbot model. What does that mean? If you interact with our chatbot 24/7, of course, if you ask for institutional information, it's gonna release it to you. But you can also ask, how is life in Trento? And the answer that you're gonna get back, it's not made up like it happens in most of LLMs, even the biggest ones, you know? The answers are quality ones because they're coming from real life experiences. Because the main value that we want to promote is that student voices, they have to be the main central element of the academic guidance experience. So what I want to do now to close my pitch, it's a small call to action. Currently, we're running a pilot in Italy, but we're soon going to scale in Europe. So any of you today can join us and follow the Unimate page on our LinkedIn so that you can stay updated on what we're doing And I really do believe that together we can make this real and we can enhance student voices so that academic guidance is going to be taken to the next level. And that's it in a nutshell.
Great, thank you.
Nice.
Well done. I'm very curious, Gabriele, to know when did your mindset really shifted during the hackathon? Where did you really saw the light almost and say, okay, I have to do something with this idea?
All right, it sounds a little cliche, but of course it's when we won the DigiEduHack. But why did that happen? Because in that moment, we realized that if we would continue with the project, we could build a community, and together we could all be winners in this challenge of taking academic guidance to the next level. I want to say thank you to DigiEduHack because winning the challenge gave us the strength to get out of the comfort zone. My co-founder and I, Alberto, we come from psychology. We don't really have a lot of technology skills, but after that we won, we found the courage to learn some web development, and in 1 month, the platform was there, and people could actually leave reviews on it. And the second click was when students, like real ones, started leaving reviews on Unimate. And even if it was like a really, really small piece of the puzzle, it was real, it was happening, and that's the moment we realized we're not students anymore. We already are digital innovators. And so I'm here to say that we gotta continue this, and we can do it together. So still, follow the Unimate journey because it's gonna be great, and let's be winners all together.
Thank you, Gabriele. Johanni, you were saying indeed back in the days in your introduction, you started with educational hackathons already in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. It was for teacher training schools in Finland. How was that back in the days? No.
Actually, that was Johanni, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, Johanni, yes.
We can maybe hear from you as well, but
No.
if I may start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it started from our own experience. So first, ourselves entering a hackathon as participants, innovating education, realizing that we don't have any students or teachers around here to co-create these solutions with. We need to bring hackathons to education. That was the starting point. We then engaged with our long-term partner, Turku University Teacher Training School, partnered with the Ministry of Education in Finland and Estonia, and got some co-funding also from the National Agency for Education in Finland. 120 participants in the first one from 2 countries, 25 teams, 6 in the final, 1 very happy winner. So it was bringing these different stakeholders together and facilitating their process. If I jump into what was the realization after the hackathon is that we saw 2 head teachers jumping up and down in the corridor like, yes, 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 because they were so happy. And this was that they had seen something new in their students. It was sort of transformational to see some of those who had been in the back row, not that engaged in the regular lessons, now taking the responsibility, owning it, and rising to the occasion, and some of them succeeding into the finals already, being really proud of what they achieved. So this kind of validated that, okay, we'll continue. Then next stage, we engaged with several teacher training schools, connected them with universities, industry, companies bringing in challenges. We had researchers observing what's happening in the room, got some real nice data about the social emotional learning that the teams were going through. Had a teacher training program running on the side as well. And then finally organizing also a hackathon for the teacher, a teacher hack, where the teacher trainers were the participants really going through the experience. And now they have been running their own hackathon, so in this sense we're not needed anymore, but that's part of our mission as well to make this happen.
Yeah, and that's a good thing if you can say you're not needed anymore.
Exactly.
You really teach people how to work with it. Victoria, you were saying in Moldova you have quite some experience also with the hackathons. What kind of, I would say, main added value do you see hackathons being for the overall learning? Why is this format so strong?
Well, we are organizing it the 3rd year in a row already. And every year we see changes, positive changes in these students. For example, this year we managed to attract more school students rather than university students, and they appear to be more productive and more solution-oriented. But the most important thing that shows us during the organizational period and participation is that they don't feel the pressure of time, although it's very short, these 24 hours, but feel the community, the connection, the interaction, and they even befriend during these 24 hours, not even knowing each other at the very beginning. That's one thing. The other thing is that they themselves have a lot of good ideas from the very beginning, and they are very eager to share. For example, when I was younger, and I remember we were gathering in groups and having also tasks to resolve at university, we were not very eager to share with other teams. Now I see that students are even more happy to share their ideas, to receive different other opinions from others in order to commonly come to a common and good solution. So this is a great achievement for us, for example. And at the same time, I see that these young people, although they have a lot of good ideas, but they still need a lot of mentorship.
Okay.
So when we attract also young leaders to help them visualize or to help them express and pitch their ideas, they need this help, and they feel more confident, they feel more organized and prepared. So this is basically what we've observed during these 3 years. But of course, we are a center for trainings for teachers. So for us, it was very important to attract students, to embark them in activities that we are doing, maybe to show teachers that the younger generation sometimes, very often, has better ideas and more productive. And this is what we achieved, to put these two parts of people together.
Yeah, we could feel it, I think, also with the testimonial earlier on, how Lisbeth was also very, proud of her students, and you had this something new, I think, that probably started because of thanks to the hackathon. What we see very often, Davide, is that in normal education, as we know it now, it's very often first you do theory, then comes the practice, and there is like a huge boundary between them. How can hackathons help us to overcome that boundary?
Well, the answer is learning by doing. And this is one of the pillars on which J Europe is constructed, actually, so it's matching pretty well with our organization's mission. But in general, what hackathons can bring in the, let's say, education is connecting that element of the doing it, of the putting into practice, challenge yourself, right? You learn the theory, you learn the topics, you learn also the skills that you can receive from your teachers, but then how do that translate into something that becomes mechanical? Don't forget that our bodies also naturally are made to remember, no? The muscular memory and all these things. So putting into practice something gives you the best learning experience afterwards. So these hackathons are the experiences that students remember the most. The learnings that they get out of the hackathons, which is what Victoria was mentioning, all the connections, putting into practice things, challenge yourself, find innovative solutions to problems and things like that. These learnings are much stronger in students that have participated in an event like an hackathon rather than those that only learn it from a frontal lesson. So I think this is the really key element of hackathons as an added value to education. The other thing is that many times when organizing an hackathon, often you invite mentors and people that are not from the educational world. They might be business mentors or other type of mentors that interact with students. Students are not used in their classroom to see these kind of profiles. So they normally interact with the teacher, they interact with the school people, but they don't see these, business volunteers that come to their place. And this is a very good interaction because they can really see how these people work, how work is done, and what is the approach to a real problem in the work environment.
So that is very important to have those people also
Indeed.
on the hackathons. You wanted to add something, Johanna?
Quickly comment on seeing teachers as learners as well. So when they have been in the room more as an observer, not actively engaging, them seeing their students kind of really performing there, it's been a realization for them like, okay, I could actually just sit back, not control that much the process. And with help of reflection, then they've started to implement this in the classroom as well. So how do I support learning in the everyday as well? So this has been quite powerful.
Teachers are learners as well. So
yes, exactly.
I see you agreeing.
The same situation happened in our situation. In our this year, we also had some teachers that had changed totally, I believe, after, because they said, "Oh, we've learned so much," and not as a matter of subjects, but as a matter of interaction with the youngs. That's true.
Gabrielle, and you, did you have the feeling that you also discovered some hidden skills? I suppose probably the technical challenges is something that you discovered, but are there other things that you discovered during the hackathon?
Sure, and I would not even call them hidden skills, but I would call them hidden gems. And the hidden gems are, I would say, it's one mainly, which is trusting your team, the ability to trust your team. That is fundamental. And the consequence of that, it's the ability of fostering a multidisciplinary approach. What does that mean, translated? It means that when you continue your project, you're going to get aware really soon that as an individual, you're not going to have all the required skills to continue with the project, okay? So either you decide to just do everything on your own, but you're not going to have time for that, because things, they just go by really, really fast. Or you go the other way, which is you start building a bond with your team and understand who is capable of doing what. And if you manage to do that, and you got to dedicate time and effort to that, what is going to happen? In the daily life, you're going to go through highs and lows, okay? The highs are great, of course. It's the highlights, right? But in the low moments, you're going to know that Alberto knows how to do that, and Leonardo knows how to do that other thing. And you can totally rely on your teammates, and things are going to stay consistent over time. And that's how you manage, to go from an idea to an actual product.
Johanni, I think you have the experience of working with DigiEduHack, but also with the European Digital Education Hub. Basically, they're like, I would almost say, two sides of the same coin, where you have, of course, sparking innovation on one side, but then what happens next? That's also, I think, very important, that it doesn't stay a nice team building and then we go back to business as usual. What is your experience with both of the organizations?
Well, the latest example comes from yesterday. So we had a webinar happening in a part of the hub about employability skills, and one of the webinar speakers is winner of EdTech Hackathon, Tallinn University organized last year. So part of DigiEduHack, and they were sharing their innovation, bringing perspectives to the table. So one example where, yes, the innovation sparked happened in DigiEduHack, and now the hub opened doors to new audiences to connect with and reach them. This has happened the other way around as well. So from the hub, we found experts in different topics come talk in the webinars from the DigiEduHack side, or become ambassadors, or even local hosts on their regions. And beyond this kind of, let's say, experts moving between these two initiatives, there is a great chance for DigiEduHack solutions to keep growing inside the hub. So really engaging with potential testers or collaborators, finding potential project partners and seek for funding with the help of them. Or enter, let's say, a work group or a workshop where the DigiEduHack team can go deeper into developing their knowledge on that particular topic, may that be ethical use of AI or whatever, since the hub is very cross-sectorial and different levels in education, bringing them all together. And I'm very much looking forward to the next years, because these two initiatives will be bridged together even closer. So I believe it's going to create very nice opportunities for innovation pathways when it comes to European digital education.
Which is, of course, very important. Davide, in a way, he's talking about connections that are made, that we have to sometimes put some effort in building a connection, maintaining a certain connection. Do you also have the feeling that during hackathons, sometimes very unexpected connections are also made?
Well, connections are part of the hackathons, and they are, I would say, one of the pillars of an hackathon. If an hackathon doesn't create connections, it's probably a failure. Sorry. Sorry. So I can go through several examples, but the two that comes to my mind are DigiEduHack as an enabler. So it's a series of hackathons, but it's an European initiative, which is promoted by the European Commission. So it's a reputational advantage in a way, right? When we participated in DigiEduHack and we promoted the fact that we were participating in DigiEduHack, we even, together with the Friends of All Digital, and a couple of years ago, we even won. So leveraging the fact that we were parts of this initiative, opened few doors. And I won't lie, it does create a reputational advantage when you say, I'm part of this initiative. So this gave us the opportunity to attract a global donor that helped us in organizing a web hackathon with over 500 students from Europe and Africa.
Wow.
Over 150 teams. And we replicated this year, so it just happened. Unfortunately, we couldn't induct it in DigiEduHack because it was too borderline, but that was definitely an enabler. And connecting with the students themselves, we found out that connecting students in an international environment really creates a bond between those different type of cultures, different type of experiences around the world. And that's how we come up with the second hackathon. Again, we couldn't induct it, but a second hackathon on the future of aviation that involved, again, students from different regions of the world. So it is a very good way to create either opportunities for funding or getting other people on board in your hackathons, but also to create connection from students to students.
And what I hear you say is also it's very interesting to have the different cultures that you put together, where we might think we are so different, but then during a hackathon we actually probably feel that we're maybe not so different and we have the same
100%.
Okay. Victoria, you were saying you were working a lot on education and with teachers. What do you think that most schools are nowadays overlooking when we talk about digital skills, and how hackathons maybe can help? What is the most...
Well, in our case in Moldova, and future classroom labs schools, there are not so many, 123. We have laboratories with technologies and with methodology, and teachers that are mostly involved in our program, so they basically know what we're doing, and they are like our ambassadors in other schools, and it's okay. But there are schools that still need a lot of work, and we still need to attract them in this. What they are overlooking, I guess, is that, well, students are taught for the moment what they should learn, a lot of information, not for the future, what should they do, in case, not in time. And this is most probably the thing that has to be taken into consideration. Another thing is that students or the younger generation are already digitalized very well, and some of them are native. But what we have in the teachers, it's still a lot of work to do. So when they meet, sometimes it's like students know better what teachers should teach, and teachers don't have this power anymore to control. And this is a challenge that they have to overcome. But what I like most is that they all are aware of the situation.
Okay.
They all have this competence already.
That's already something, right?
That is the best competence, or one of the most important competence in digital skills. So we are happy to see that the awareness is already at home.
Okay. Gabriele, how are you able to move into a real company, a real startup? What made the click for you to really say, okay, let's go for this?
Yeah. So, Sween, I'm going to say something really unorthodox right now, but it's actually thanks to DigiEduHack that we made this mental switch. So my main advice is to reset and kind of scratch off all the theory that you learn from the books. Because when you get out there, it's very, very different. And I'm not talking about somebody who has managed to do it on the first try. You know, when we got started with Unimate, after that we won the DigiEduHack, we followed like a really traditional kind of approach. And we tried to start a project thinking of a perfect, shiny, feasible business model, okay? Which it has to be done at some point, don't get me wrong. But in that moment, we were just thinking about that, and our creativity, our innovation skills were completely blocked, okay? So after like a few weeks, you know, without doing anything, we just looked at each other, got aware of that, and we did the other way around. So we were like, okay, let's not think about the theory anymore. Let's go to the actual people, the customers, who are students in our case, and just talk to them and build meaningful relationships with them. Because if we understand the people, if we build a community, if we understand their real problems and issue, the product and the business model are going to follow naturally, okay? So that is the main point. And since we started using this human-centered approach, people were hopping on Unimate and leaving reviews. And by having 133 reviews, then we were like, oh, now we got the material to build the chatbot, which is the product, right? And now that we have the chatbot, we're actually realizing that we can build a business model out of that. So everything is flowing naturally, but it's starting from the people and the human beings that are building our own community. And that's all I want to say for the moment. Yeah.
Okay, great. Johanni, I think sometimes people think, well, I'm not at all technical. I don't know anything. I don't like mathematics, science, engineering. It's not me, STEM. They're not talking to me. Do you then sometimes see people participating in a hackathon and saying like, after all, I am very interested. What sometimes hooks up people?
A living example
Guilty?
here. Yeah. Finnish language teacher and entering a hackathon without any, coding skills. But that hasn't been my role in those situations neither. So previously, just a few weeks back, was a participant again in a hackathon, and that was a very good kind of confirmation again about the team roles that we can have and supposed to have different skills that we bring in. And working alongside those couple of developers that we were able to engage into our team was a learning moment for me, because I'm not that familiar with GitHub or JSON. But then went in, I started with the storytelling part from the scratch. I was pitching at the end. That was my role, working with AI, producing content for them to work forward. So this is kind of one entry point that you can come with your skill set and be learning more the, let's say, the engineer and techie parts along the way. We've also in the back organized a maker hack, and there we brought in makerspace elements into the hackathon room. So having 3D printers, VR goggles, AR, but also cardboard, plastics, renewable cloths and such, and really challenged the teams to make it tangible. The prototype had to be something concrete. Something, not just PowerPoints and only code, but make it so that we can actually kind of see and feel and touch it even. And this pushed them to then, okay, what are we actually going to be doing here? So facilitating the environment is quite powerful, and I see with hackathons many opportunities into doing this out of the classroom sort of environment and bringing people in and just, as you mentioned, learning by doing. Really dive into it. You're in a safe space for a certain amount of time. Explore, try it out, see what comes out of it. It can be that harmful.
Victoria, you were raising your hand. You're a teacher as well, I suppose, huh? Of languages, okay. We heard that translating is also something very important if we talk about digital skills. But if we look to hackathons, the educator really shifts of what he was used to be taught to do in front of a classroom. You need to become a mentor, a facilitator. I can imagine that for some people this transition feels very intimidating. How can we overcome that? How have you seen that work in the different hackathons that you organized?
Just as I said earlier, that sometimes teachers, when they are put in the situation to study or to be in the same level with their students or other students, then they immediately, switch to the students mode. It's not very easy, of course. But what we observed is that when you give them good conditions, as Johanni said right now, good conditions, access to the information, mentorship, and also attract them to come up with even crazy ideas, and also encourage all of the ideas, then it's much easier to work with them, and they are much happier afterwards. It's difficult when students and teachers have to compete, because they are in different teams, and sometimes teachers have the tendency of competition more than students. Okay. And they, even are sometimes those that want to be praised or want to have this award, and why don't we have these certificates, and so on and so forth. And sometimes even with emotions and with tears and with, but that's a good thing. That's, I guess it's a good thing. Then it helps us understand that it's a necessity for the teachers also to be attracted, involved. So then later when they go to school in front of their students, they already don't have same behavior. So this not only changed the way of thinking, this also changed the way of acting and behavior.
So in a way, really accepting that there is such a thing as reverse mentoring, and it's not because somebody's younger or less experienced that you cannot learn something from them in either occasion.
Yes, I guess so.
What you say. Johanni, we see, and you give the example, you make them do real prototypes and so on, which is probably great and fun during the 24 hours. But then how can you really, or what can you share with us that you can do when you organize hackathons to make sure that it's having a long-lasting effect afterwards?
I really enjoyed what Gabriele here shared about going out there and really connecting with the users, the customers. So providing support, facilitation for spaces, programs, interactions after the hackathons. It could be on the local level, and I encourage here kind of ecosystem thinking. So who do we have around us as the organization or organizer? Where could this pathway then lead to? Is there companies who would be interested in maybe welcoming these young minds to share their stories, and there could be nice connection points there. Is there potentially an incubator program or entrepreneurship program happening in the area? We can engage with them, NGO for social impact, such things. And really map these before you even, or when you're planning the hackathon, and see where the pathway could go. If not this, then as I mentioned, the hub is an offer there. Yeah, at least Europe-wide. We have members from outside as well, so they are welcome. And would like to connect kind of back to the keynote as well, that seeing the hackathon really as the rebels, and then the hub can be the, let's say, the IT on GDPR this and GDPR that.
Yes.
And also the upskilling of these innovations there. So maybe these couple of points.
And what you say is like planning is important. Think of certain things up front, make sure that you create the ecosystem so that afterwards the ecosystem finds each other and can build upon that. Davide, imagine that we have somebody in the room today coming up to you afterwards with the lunch saying, wow, great things that you have been sharing with us, but unfortunately I don't have the time, the resources to do a full hackathon. What will you then share with them? Forget about the hackathon? Don't call me, do something else, go in front of your class, continue doing what you did? Or is there like a tip that you can say, well, it's in the spirit, even if you don't have the 24 hours and the space and everything?
Well, my advice would be to start small. We tried this, we don't call them hackathons, but we do this kind of exercises in our classrooms, but a lot of teacher trainings, we do it a lot. Give them a small challenge that they need to solve, where the goal is not really getting to a solution, but is the learning process of it.
Okay.
Right? So establishing the connection, the critical thinking, sharing, the respect to each other. We, of course, stress to the point that you need to give constructive feedback to each other. This methodology, whether you don't say no to people, but you say, I agree, but what if, right? This kind of little methodologies, it can last 2 hours. It's not expensive, no budget required, and it gives you a bit of taste of what's happening into an hackathon. It's a bit of a different thing what we experienced also in the past, but the example that I said before that we did together with All Digital and Fondazione per la Scuola was that we had 3 hosts, close to no budget, 3 countries, 1 team per country. So we said, what we'd want to do, we want to participate, but we need to put together something that works. So at the end, we come up with a blended model. Most of the interaction with the mentors were done online, some on-site. And at the end of the day, with very little resources, we managed to pull out a great experience for all the students. And I think that was a success. So my advice would be really try it, you know, go for it. Even if it's a small 2 hours workshop, then it can grow to a 6 hours thing, it can grow to a 12 hours, and then you end up doing a full hackathon.
Or it can be straight away the 48-hour version and you still make it, you know.
Indeed.
Have a great fun.
Maybe, Victoria, do you have any other methodologies that indeed we can easily integrate in education without specifically organizing a hackathon right away?
Well, we are used to organize different kind of events, And the only methodology that works is very good planning beforehand. Whatever it is, small, big, 100 people, 20 people, it has to be very well prepared beforehand. But at the same time, things happen, different kind of challenges, and you have to be flexible, you have to be communicative, and you have to adapt to the situation the way it is. For example, in our case, 2 years ago, when we first started, imagine a post-Sovietical building, one of the university's block, that is closing at 5 p.m. because at 4 p.m. people leave the building, they go home. And at 5 p.m., 6 p.m., they close the building. The only person working is the receptionist. Now imagine such an 8th-floor building closing, and usually in November it's already dark. And we come up with the idea to have a hackathon on the same whole floor for 24 hours. Mrs. Rector was a little bit confused. She said, "What is this? And why should we be open the whole 24 hours at night?" But she understood the idea. She was very curious how it's going to work. It was very confusing and a challenging situation for us to adapt. But those that were present, teachers and students, they were just very happy and very productive. They didn't even want to go outside for their necessities. They even didn't want, they had all of the conditions they needed. We even attract some partners and we bought blankets for them so that they can sleep 1-2 hours and all kind of conditions. It's very important to have all of this so that people feel closer, like home, and feel the atmosphere. And relaxed, because in this situation they have more ideas and then they can be creative and provide. So, but up until now, people in the university seeing us getting prepared for DigiEduHack or for events of this kind, they're like, "Are you going to stay 24 hours again?" So it's kind of difficult, but this is what is memorable. They already get used to the fact that there is an event that attracts people, that it's challenging and quite new, innovative. And it's, as Davida said, it's the reputation of the heavy thing that it has, that it's the European Commission, that it's on an European level, organized everywhere. So it's good.
Perfect. Let's see maybe if somebody in our audience has got a question for either one of you. Can you raise your hands if you have one? If you want to keep the questions for the networking part, that's totally fine as well. Let me see. One last chance. Yes, one question there. Can we just borrow the microphone? Thank you.
Thank you all for your information and your experience that you wanted to share. Maybe not direct a question, but something I really want to thank Gabriele, because he used we need to build meaningful relationships, and the others, they used connection, and that's not the same. A connection is temporary and it's broken. It can be broken. A relation is reciprocal and ongoing, and that's important. And by the experience, what you're talking about, you build relationships. And that's so important. And thank you to mention that.
Indeed, thank you. But let's also not forget that, okay, words, what's in a word is very different for somebody than for somebody else. And I think we can indeed confirm what we heard already, where translation is so important, and to make sure that if somebody says something, did you really understand that correctly? Are we speaking the same language? But indeed, thank you for that. Any other questions? I don't see any questions. I think we might have questions later on during the networking. So I'm going to ask a nice applause for all four of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's maybe take a look what the results of our Menti was. How many people in the room and at home answered that they have participated already in a hackathon? Not bad. 36 say yes, and oh well, more than half, not yet, but they want to do one. So, well, I think you know who to talk to help you
Yeah, would it be
organizing it.
interesting to see now after the panel, and would that be even greater? Maybe the
I'm
names are all
sure
out.
it will be
Who knows?
greater.
Who knows? Hopefully so.
Yeah, probably. I'm very sure it will. Thank you for your very positive messages once again. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, go ahead. We will dive into the next part of the interactive moment. So those online, I will send you to our colleague that will explain what you will do. But here in this room, what we, I think you all heard that what you came up with as teams was very, very different. I think almost all of the possible scenarios for the future have been mentioned. So what we'd like to do now is...
Welcome back,
I
guys,
suggest
to
you
our own virtual space where we can discuss and dive into further into our own scenario that we had selected in the beginning. When I say we, I mean our online group, right? We see us as a one little team. So I will go ahead and share with you guys. First of all, you can see the QR code on the bottom of my little square. So please go ahead and scan that so that you're back on the Mentimeter, where we can go ahead and have some insightful discussions. It is really hard to discuss truly when you're in this case where really communication is one way. As I said before, this is quite unfortunate that we cannot really have a full-on discussion, but we, as this is the subject, right? We have to find ways to make virtual space and online discussions more interactive. So we're using Mentimeter, where you can actually go ahead and give us some questions. I think you should be able to see it here, but you don't. So let me quickly check here. You should be able to see this part, but maybe I'm doing something wrong. You should be able now probably to see a space where you can leave questions. Go ahead here and check that you can actually do that. Give me 1 second to make sure that you guys can actually give us your questions and your thoughts and interact with us from your home or your office where you're at. Right, so I think you should be able to see the Q&A space. So this is the space for you guys to leave some questions before we get into the our card, our future scenario that we're discussing today. While you're leaving questions, I will read to you guys the scenario we all selected. So I will stop sharing the screen of the questions for a quick second, and I will go ahead and share the card we are all discussing. So you should be able to see the presentation and my slides. Sorry about seeing all of the slides. And bear with me while I find the one I'm looking for. It's right here. So this is the one we all agreed that was the most important scenario for us. Education designed for every mind, right? We talked about inclusivity and diversity. Let me read to you what that's more into what that was. So rather than adapting disabled or neurodivergent learners to standardized systems, curricula is designed around neurodiversity as foundational pedagogy. Institutions are building educational experiences that simultaneously serve autistic, ADHD, dyslexic, and neurotypical learners. We all one group. This approach respects sensory differences, nonlinear thinking patterns, and alternative communication modes as educational assets rather than deficits. While this universal design approach often results in richer learning environments for everyone, It requires truly significant pedagogical reimagining and challenges institutional assumptions about what quote unquote normal learning looks like. So we're rethinking the future, a future where everyone is in the same classroom, everyone is equally challenged, but also equally, they feel like there's a space where they can also equally exist. They can also share their ideas, their different perspectives, and learn at the same time. So while I let you, think and then reflect on this part of education and the scenario of the future, I allow you also to leave questions. If we don't have any questions, we can just quickly jump ahead to sharing what that means for the future. So say that scenario in fact takes place. What would that look like for education? So we jump into guiding questions. We have what actions should be taken now to address possible opportunities and challenges. So what are the opportunities and challenges that arise? Opportunities is that we have a diversity of students. Challenges is that we need maybe technological advancements, or we need to rethink the educational process. Which possible developments should be included in future strategies and policies? If some of you online are more into the policy aspect of education, what would that scenario look like in your work? What would that mean? What kind of policies would that require? And how can we consider this aspect of education in our policies? You can also consider what assumptions do current education systems make about what a typical learner is, right? We take some things maybe for granted, or we don't consider other. How do these assumptions exclude or disadvantage neurodivergent learners? In what ways does reframing neurodiversity as an asset rather than a deficit, as we said before, shift the purpose of education? What would curriculum look like, right? If neurodiversity was the starting point rather than the exception, that could be really interesting. That could become more of it could be a completely different space for not just neurodivergent learners, but for quote unquote normal, quote unquote typical learners. You could even consider that there's not really a typical learner, that really everyone learns in their own way. And we should try and consider different avenues for education. Which teaching practices already support multiple cognitive styles, what I just said, right? We need to consider different avenues for learning to get to learners or students, and which require radical redesign. You can think, how can educators balance structure with flexibility in a universally designed classroom? You could even consider, what would that classroom look like? Would it be still a squared room with lined up desks, pens and papers? Would it be a completely different environment? What things would exist on the walls? What kind of technology would exist in this classroom? The possibilities really are endless. And that also comes into the next guiding question, like how can schools better accommodate sensory needs without segregating learners? Maybe this part is more also on the classroom design regarding sensory needs, right? Sounds, visuals. Then how might assessments change if we recognize nonlinear thinking and diverse processing styles as strengths? Because then the way we review or test or assess, as it says here, the educational journey, and if students have indeed learned what we were trying to teach, will also radically change. It will be a completely different process. So how would that system look like? What would be the design of that? And then how do we ensure that neurodiversity-centered design is not limited to well-researched schools, which is a larger subject in education anyways. Some schools have more resources than others. Some countries have more resources in general than others. Education we should try and keep it, as accessible as possible. Accessibility doesn't only refer to the way people learn, but it is also the access to other things, technology, for example, and that also affects, right? One affects the other. So these are a few things you can consider while you leave your answers. I think those are the ones. Yes. So those are the questions we have as guiding questions. I can always go back to these questions, but for now, I will shift to the next slide for where you here now you can leave your responses. You have 200 characters, I think you can use to, oh, I'm not sharing it. Sorry, I just saw. Here you are. There we go. So this is your opportunity to tell us your thoughts. Really, we want to know, how do you imagine this future where education is designed for every mind? How do you consider the implementation of this into policy, into classroom design, into educational journey design, into the way we teach, the way we learn? We're really curious to see how you guys think, and I will let you reflect because I have gone on a monologue now for a good amount of time, and I want to know what your thoughts are. So, I mean, this is also a complicated subject, of course, and it depends. Maybe your perspective depends on where you're coming from in education or outside of it, if you're from the tech world or the policy world. So let us know what your thoughts are on education design for every mind. And let us know also if you want to go back to the guiding questions. Again, we don't really have an interaction. You can always comment on the live stream you're on. If you're joining us from YouTube, you can comment there, or if you're joining us from LinkedIn, you can also comment there. You can also join us from the website, but I don't think it's easy for you to comment there. So I would just go directly to YouTube or LinkedIn. If you want me to go back to the questions, please let us know there, or you can use this space even to say, Ariadne, could you quickly go back to the guiding questions for my reflection? I'll leave you to it. I'll give you some time. I'm also going to be mindful of the time. And let you reflect a little bit without hearing my voice on the background. I will also be simultaneously checking LinkedIn and YouTube. So let me know if you have any questions or if you want me to go back to the guiding questions. I also want to be mindful of the time to make sure we arrive back to the main room with our co-participants who are on site on time. We have for this activity until 12:55. I know we got into a tiny bit later, but I believe that we still have 6 to 10 minutes. I'll bring back the questions in sharing my screen. You can always still scan the QR code, and you can still respond with your reflections. But I'm just going to be showing you here the guiding questions for your reflection. You should be able to see it now. Perfect. So here we are. You can always scan the QR codes, which is here, to go back to the space where you can leave your answers and your reflections and your thoughts. But please use the guiding questions to help you imagine this future. Imagine a future where the classroom is targeting all kinds of learners, all kinds of paths of learning. We're talking about including neurodivergent learners, rethinking educational spaces for including all kinds of learners, and considering, neurodiversity as an asset, as a new perspective or multiple new perspectives. If we have teachers joining us online, you can also consider some challenges of this future. You can also share with us your thoughts about how do you think that could affect your profession, and for sure that will require teachers to adapt their learning, maybe to upskill themselves, right? They will need to be able to understand new technologies and be able to use different tools. That can be an opportunity, but it can also be a challenge. We still have 6 minutes in our time to share our thoughts. DigiEduHack is in fact a space where we take the opportunity of gathering in teams all around the world, so multiple different perspectives in terms of backgrounds and culture and ages and educational systems, to rethink education for the future, to rethink education in the age of digital skills, but really to rethink how and reimagine how we will learn in the future. We take the opportunity to ideate on different subjects. As if you're part of this community, you already know that we have 8 challenge categories that all hackathons actually fall under. We look into the pedagogies and design of learning. We look into classrooms. We look into technologies and artificial intelligence. We look into a lot of different aspects of education and ways we can change education. This is your opportunity here today to participate in this endeavor, even if you're not an active member of the community, by being a host or participant. You already have heard a lot of past participants' testimonials, hosts, a participant who actually continued and developed their idea into an actual company, which is one of the successful projects. Even if you don't continue your idea, right, it was a success to bring this to the table and for people to ideate on a specific subject. But it's great to, of course, see people who continued with their product or project. And that is a way for people to participate and support change. An event like this can also be your opportunity to participate in change. We still have a couple of minutes left. It's always quite interesting to be on a live stream and engage with people from all parts of the world. And, you know, it's another way of connecting with everyone. You should also know that our hackathons all around the world are, of course, the same way. They're either fully online or hybrid or sometimes on site. You can ideate and rethink education in any of these forms, which is super great, and of course more inclusive, right? Because for some countries may not have a hackathon, and then participants from those countries can join hackathons all everywhere else in the world. So that is a great tool to have. We still have a couple of minutes left if anyone wants to share their thoughts. And then we'll soon jump back to the main room with our co-participants. There's, of course, more things to consider in the subject of education design for every mind. Could consider some risks. You could consider, you could get into more of into artificial intelligence as a tool and see where this could support or risk education, as artificial intelligence is, of course, quite a hot subject. Maybe you could discuss ethical considerations. Is there any, you know, ethical questions that come to play? Our testimonial previously also discussed our reliance on technology. What could that mean in terms of education for every mind? There's all these kinds of different questions to ask yourself for every of those subjects we saw before, right? All the 8 categories or 8 cards that we had in front of us are subjects that are quite important for the future of education and often discussed among the circles of those who are interested in the subject of education. So there's so many different questions to ask yourselves in regards to the subject and to the specific card that we decided is one of the most impactful ones out of the 8 that we had. You can continue your reflection afterwards, and you can always find us on our social media to share your thoughts. It is an open discussion and communication stays open. You can message us on LinkedIn, message us on Instagram. You can comment on our posts. We're super active. I myself, sometimes I'm responding on comments. My colleague David is as well. My colleague Maya. You have a lot of us big there, you know, like we go through all the comments and all the messages and interactions you have with us. So now it's maybe less of a faceless thing to do. I think we'll be going back in any minute, and we'll see you back in the room. Thank you for being here.
build like locally accessible things, for education, then we also have to think about how do we coordinate this, not rather as a top-down kind of model, but as a council, to make sure that everyone is heading in the right direction and everyone has access to technology, which is basically, what we need to get, but also in a meaningful way, for environmentally friendly, development. And then we have to increase literacy and have very solid frameworks that would work, towards helping us, coordinate the same direction. We also are talking about equal standards for everyone, because this is one of the things that we do need to have. And then in the same way, talking about, more intergenerational dialogue. Different people of different ages see things differently, so we need to be thinking again about not learning just in case, but learning just in time, so we can be ready for the things that are happening right now. Quality labels is one of the things that we need to look at. And generally, when we talk about education that uses digital technology, we need to be looking at environmental sustainability by design. Usually, we are looking for solutions, we build solutions, and then we think, how can we make them friendly, for the environment, which is actually, sometimes counterproductive. We need to be contributing to net zero by 2050. And finally, we are actually looking at efficiency and creativity, doing more with less, because that's what we want to do. Decentralization might help with that, but we also need, to see how we can, find better ways to implement that. And finally, never forget about digital well-being. Think of how much you should use in terms of digital technology and how much we can actually outsource, out of the digital, like with the plain old pen and paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello to everyone. Our group had the topic of the slow learning, but if I could remember, we had a lot of slow learning, but not too much like in this moment. I hope that I remember everything because we didn't put the notes on our wall. Actually, according to the slow learning, we start with the position of teacher, because what is the position in teacher? Actually, in the past, teacher was someone who actually provided the knowledge. But now knowledge is everywhere, especially with AI. Our students can go Google it, go on the chat GPT, ask anything, and they will receive the knowledge. But in the slow learning, with these ongoing projects, with some case studies, we discuss how it could be actually applied to different curricula in different countries, because it's the real challenge. On the university level, we discussed we can put it in the one course and make some real project. But otherwise, it's a real pain of thinking between the students. They use AI just to receive the information. And according to this, we really need this structural changing by using the real projects. And in this real project, they need to interact with the AI. Teachers only need to provide the basic information. After that, they can have some special agents which are built on AI. Then they can discuss with the AI, but teachers are the new facilitators. They're not providing the knowledge. They need to facilitate the students that they can start to thinking, and then we can influence the critical thinking was on the first place, and the problem solving skills. And it could be the way how we can imagine the future of the slow learning. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think with that we had all the teams. So thank you for working together in not so much time, of course. Can I ask you to take your seats back? Because I've got a last question for you on the Mentimeter. Because we are very curious, before we have the closing words, to see what was the most surprising idea that you learned today. So something you did not expect, that you did not think of when you came here or when you followed us online. I see some congratulations on all the topics that were on the boards, indeed. Teachers as facilitators. FOBO, indeed, interesting. One language that we all use so we understand each other. And I see much more coming in And we will continue following probably also what the people at home that are following us or from their offices are sharing with us. But I would like to give the floor for some closing remarks here to somebody who really plays a key role in shaping that future and does that at a European level. With her team, she is at the forefront of the Europe digital education. Please give her a warm welcome, Francesca Maltauro.
Hello, so tall people today. Okay. Thank you. So I am the person who is between you and the lunch, so I will not be too long. And actually, yes, I would like to say a few closing words and to try to summarize this morning, which has been so dense. And I was thinking that is a very difficult task, so I will probably just share with you what has resonated with me. But first of all, yeah, I am Francesca Maltauro, working for the European Commission in DigiEduHack, in the unit who deals with digital education, and with my team, and actually my team has organized this wonderful event, so thank you all for, thank you to the entire team, and thank you for staying with us the entire morning and contributing in various ways to this discussion, which I think is really also a symbol of what we have been saying today throughout, that, okay, we need the digital skills. There is ISIL's results that are not so great and sometimes in some cases worrying, or at least the trend is a bit worrying, but also that each of us has skills that can help the others. So for me, what has resonated is that, well, starting from Saskia, this appreciative understanding. So understanding your position, which may be different from mine, and then also looking at what you can bring to the discussion with your skills, because my skills, especially in today's society, are possibly very, very likely not enough for any of the professional situation in which I find myself. So I need to work in a team. I need to bring out the best from colleagues, and that, yeah, colleagues will have those skills that I might not have and complement. So for me, this idea of collaborating in a world where the norm is very often turned upside down, as Saskia was saying, no, that she was explaining how the things can change completely and reverse. And also some of the things that were said in the first panel linked very well to this, because yeah, one word is digital agency, which was mentioned, and the fact that we need to be aware and build this awareness and work on this awareness. If you are a teacher, work on your awareness as a teacher. What are you teaching, in which world, in which conditions? Conditions have changed, but I am the same teacher as I was 10 years ago, or maybe 20 years ago, so maybe I need some training, maybe I need to understand, maybe the students can give me some knowledge that I can reuse with my experience as a teacher to teach them actually something, because what was said was also that these students, they are exposed to technology, they consume technology, but this does not mean that they develop specific skills just by being exposed, you know? So all of these have been the things that have resonated quite a lot, together with this idea of curiosity as one of the future skills, and I really liked that a lot, and the fact that curiosity must be nurtured and nourished, and also be taught, probably leading by example. And I think you are all here very curious people, so I think we share these skills specifically, but maybe it's a concept that it's worth sharing outside. And then I would like to thank the testimonials who have proven really a great ability to communicate, to be able to communicate in English, come here and speak in front of an audience. I think we should all appreciate that quite a lot. And I also would like to thank for this opportunity to having these interactive activities and brainstorming, because many interesting ideas have come out, and we see some of them there. For me personally, the most surprising is probably this FOBO, because I try to keep up with times, and so I also know some of these acronyms. So I knew FOMO, but I didn't know FOBO. So this is, for me, something that I learned, and that it's actually very much something that I can relate to. And finally, I also thank people, the audience online who has been following, hopefully with a nice cup of tea or coffee during the morning. So thank you all. And I think, unless I forgot to say something, yes, something important. I hope we can have such exchanges, events, and conversations outside the room. So what you have learned, what you have absorbed from today, just share it. I'm sure you will. Share it in your professional context outside this room, because I think it is very, very valuable. And that's the reason why we want to organize these meetings, for us to get together, talk, and then share further. So thanks a lot to everybody, and enjoy the lunch. Thank you.
Thank you for very nice closing words, giving us the essential of a very nice morning. From my side, thank you to all of you being here, not sending your avatars, but being here yourself. Thank you to all the speakers. Let's also continue the conversation. So as you know, we have some networking today, but as you might know, there is a big repository of webinars and how to go to. So make sure you visit the website, see what is available there that you might be able to use in your own environment. So enjoy the lunch, enjoy the rest of the day. It was very nice to have you all here. Good luck with everything you do in education, and enjoy. See you later.